We are here for the next episode of Seeds of Bravery podcast that we have with entrepreneurs from Ukraine who are doing deep tech startups. And this podcast is a part of a Seeds of Bravery project, which is funded by the European Innovation Council and European Commission and implemented by a consortium of international partners to support the deep tech ecosystem in Ukraine, predominantly deep tech startups, entrepreneurs, scientists, basically to grow the ecosystem and integrate it to the European innovation family. So join us, and I'm happy to have you here. Just subscribe over the media platforms that we have via YouTube, Spotify, or other platforms, and please wait for the next episodes. We'll have it regularly for you. So Maksym, hi again. Pleasure to have you with us today.
Yeah, hi Sviatoslav. I'm so glad to be here, and I think it will be a really powerful, interesting discussion.
Absolutely. So Maksym Tereshchenko is one of the founders and CEO of a deep tech AI-driven startup called Mantis Analytics. We usually start from a sort of one-liner, what startup actually is doing. So probably, Maksym, can you just quickly introduce the company?
Yeah, sure. Like Mantis Analytics, it's a situation awareness and threat intelligence platform, like powered with AI, right? So basically, we help companies and government organizations like manage risks, both like physical and informational, using AI.
As far as I understood, so you as a team actually gathered as volunteers in March 2022 to probably be useful and utilize the expertise that you have. Can you share a little bit of background of that story?
We started as a startup like absolutely organically, right? Without any plan, because full invasion of Russia has been started, and you remember this like first months of shock and these questions that we asked everybody, like and each other, like and themselves, like how can I help in the following situation, right? And we decided to help with our experience, right? Because our whole team has experience to building AI, data platform solution, data analysis, and so on. For example, I did that all my life, right? And like in parallel with the physical confrontation, like huge informational war has been started. You remember, like first weeks, like all the media like flooded with disinformation, with deepfake videos and so on. And we decided to help our government to be more resilient in the following situation using AI technologies. So in this case, we just started as a volunteer organization. We started to work with National Security Council of Ukraine, other like government institution, just with a main mission to help them be more resilient.
Yeah, probably one of the main points at early stage of startup is who are the co-founders, how long they work together, right? Can you also tell us a little bit of how you actually met your co-founders, whether you have some past work experience together, and how three of you actually collided to create Mantis Analytics?
Let's first of all, we have three co-founders. I'm Maksym as a CEO of the company. Ostap, he is CTO of the company, and Anton, he is CMO and expertise lead in the company. So with Ostap, I think we met about 12 years ago or something like that, because we worked on the big project in the Deutsche Bank, just on fraud detection system, also using AI, and we worked like several years, so we know each other like very well. So in this case, just first candidate in mind for the CTO position, it was Ostap, so I immediately invite him, and it's very cool that he immediately agreed on this proposition. With Anton, we met at the beginning of previous year, because he was doing some kind of similar media monitoring project about mentions of Ukraine in the Western media. So we connected with this project, and after that, we just understood that we're on the same page and let's start to work together. And that's how the story like began between founders.
Yeah, right. So basically, for you guys, you wanted to volunteer to help the country in the situation, to counter the disinformation in a way, right? And eventually, you understood that we can make business of it or start a startup based on the expertise, idea, and first early traction. Do you have a specific, point in time when you said, okay, now we are a startup doing business, not a group of volunteers?
Yeah, it's very interesting point, and I think it's a very actual point for the startup industry itself, especially startups which were like in the wartime, right? Because first years were like a lot of volunteer initiatives, but in some time you need to start some kind of transformation because you cannot be like volunteer forever. Like I think everybody is like understands that. Basically, such kind of point of transformation happened exactly in 1 year after like we started as a volunteer organization, and it were like several drivers for that. First of all, I think one of the drivers that I finished my previous work in previous startup, and after that I just started to think what to do next, and I just think, oh wow, like we have a like very good, powerful team. We have a great mission, which is very important because, frankly speaking, in our career, most of the places do not have like proper vision, right? Which can be easily communicate, right? But in case of Mantis Analytics, for me it was very simple just to communicate this mission. First of all, for myself, right? And also just I understood that the problem is relevant. We were like I was sure about government, about our organization around government, that there is demand, but also I have some kind of hypothesis about corporate sectors that we can successfully scale, and such kind of factors. It was like enough for me just to say, okay, so our volunteer story like is finished. From this point, we just started commercialization and we started like transformation to the company.
Yeah, absolutely. And I believe for investors, right, it is also very important to understand that it's not a pet project or a side project or a volunteering project, but a potentially very sustainable and high growth business. And you actually closed an early pre-seed round with SaaS Ventures last year and was announced just a couple of months ago. Maybe you can also shed a bit of light on the process behind that, how you approached, how you understood that you need investment, how you approach investors, and how quick in terms of timing was that negotiations with SaaS Ventures.
We are now on the close line of our, we name it as a safe round, right? Or we can name it as a pre-seed round. So totally we're raising about $500,000, and already we raised 185, and we have a commitment. We have a commitment for $300. So hopefully we will close our round soon. And now a little bit of insights of the fundraising process, because my background is product management. I spent almost all my life on product management position, on head of product, on project management. But the main difference that when you like became a CEO, you start to have such kind of fundraising experience, because it's absolutely impossible to have it on a position like a product manager or head of product. And so it was absolutely new experience for me. And as a startup founder, I started from some kind of romantic phase, right? That, oh wow, we have absolutely cool startup. I will raise everything in 10 minutes and so on and so on. But what I recognize is that fundraising is a really hard and routine work, right? So I cannot count how many calls with investors I did. I think it's more than several hundreds for the last time period. So what I want to mention here and maybe suggest for early startup founders. So first of all, do everything not only on logical level, because we have some kind of frameworks, how to make a pitch, how to formalize your early traction and so on. Yeah, it's everything important, but also try to find some kind of resonation with your first investors and so on, because some things on the early stage are not fully logical, right? You just feel something after the call that is your investor, that is your person, because investment on early stage is mostly about believing in team, believing in mission, believing in something like that, because you cannot verify all the numbers and so on and so on. So in this case, such kind of early work on investment, for me, it's 50-50, 50 logical and 50 about emotional intelligence, like just understanding what do you feel for the every call and so on. And I'm happy that we found this resonation, and we are on the closing line on this our first round in very tough condition. We can say it's absolutely directly that now raising money for the early stage startup, especially in Ukraine, it's very tough job basically.
Yeah, I guess in general, doing business and doing a startup in such conditions is hard. It requires a lot of resilience and not giving up. And especially fundraising, when you play a game, when you hear probably hundreds people say, no, I don't believe in the idea, or no, it's not for us, or no, there is a red flag of some kind, but still keeping that, in a way, passion, in a way, energy, in a way, resilience, to get to the level, then you start receiving, yes, we're in, we believe into that. We believe that that's an opportunity for us. So that's something that I we need to empathize in a way a lot to founders and to CEOs who spend hours and hours every day receiving no, and then finally having some interest from investors and taking the round. Can you probably tell a bit more on kind of your typical day in terms of fundraising, right? How much time it usually takes or took in general for the last, I assume, half a year or maybe a couple of months at least?
First of all, you need to structure a process, and I'm trying to structure that as much as possible, because, as I say, mostly it's a routine process, right? And I don't think it's it's possible to fully automate that, but just to formalize as much as possible, it's very important. So. I'm using SRM, so from the first day, right? And I suggest that to the all early stage founders to use CRM, because anyway, sometime you need to migrate, and as early you start, as better. The next, I think a lot of time I spend initially on this such kind of follow-up process, because what I recognize is that people now is over element of communication. And sometimes you need to do several follow-ups just to get initial intro call and so on, and it's very important to be very personalized in such kind of follow-up. So in this case, I'm not sending some kind of similar messages. Always, I'm trying to find some kind of approach to person, find some personal trigger to connect with this person. So in this case, it's first of all some kind of outreach. The second, it's calls. And on the latest stages, it's a due diligence process, it's a creation of data rooms and so on. So I think last half of year I spent like in average like 2-3 hours per day for fundraising process.
Yeah, and when it comes to results, did you focus on business angels or more of early stage VCs or both? How did the round eventually is structured?
Yeah, so I think now we have basically in this amount that we already received, we have 3 types of investors, right? All 3 types. We have a venture fund, we have angels, and we have an accelerator. Just to remind that we joined Alchemist Accelerator, like top 1 B2B accelerator in the United States with acceptance rate about 3% basically. It was a huge win for us, and Alchemist it's also our investor. I can suggest like 60% of the effort like target on angels, 20 on VC, and 20 on accelerators. So that's my suggestion. But you see that in our case it's pretty equal distribution between all these 3 types of investors, because like have like only angels, it's okay. But if you say that you already like venture backed, it's give you some advantage, right? Because it's some kind of it signs that so at least like one like venture funds already like believe it in you and supported you, and after that it's much easier to to prove that to the other funds, to the accelerators, and so on and so on.
Yeah, true. And first of all, the competition for Seeds of Bravery financing is also quite high. So congrats for you to be part of the project. Alchemist is also very competitive in terms of getting into the program, especially being in a way outsider from outside the US. And raising a pre-seed or safe round as well is quite a complicated task. So definitely, congrats on the progress on all these steps this year. But that is basically thanks not only just to your work, but the products that you've built and use cases that you have. So probably, especially given your background in product management, would be interesting to hear what is currently Mantis Analytics in terms of the product offering, in terms of the pains that you solve, and a little bit in use cases and type of clients, whether it's government focused or already a bit more general.
So first of all, just to remind like our mission, right? Like we as a company just say that the whole world just is entering very turbulent time, right? And by statistic, like 92 risk management experts are absolutely pessimistic about 10-year horizon. So in this case, we do not have any positive signals, none for government, none for commercial sector, and so on. So in this case, companies and governments should rethink approach for risk management, assuming that there are a lot of new type of threats, right? Deepfake videos, disinformation, which is also actively attack commercial sector. So based on that, our like product proposition is like based to help companies and governments and so on manage such kind of physical informational threats and quickly react on that. And now we can split this product proposition on the 2 directions. Like first direction, it's automation of reports and briefings. Like imagine if you are like, I don't know, agricultural company which produce GMO, and you want to have weekly briefing. What kind of risk you have, like reputational protests, regulatory risks, and so on and so on. Just to collect such kind of reports, you need to hire like hundreds of analysts, which will be sitting and analyzing like different sources and so on. And it's absolutely not effective. It's I think it's not impossible in so intensive informational space that we have now, right? For such kind of companies, we can automate this process, and using AI, big data, scraping different type of sources, automate such kind of reports. Also, in following direction, we have some sub-direction. For example, we launch a separate product for election analysis, specifically with a focus on US election analysis in different media spaces, in Russian media space, in US media space, and so on. So in this case, US election is hot topic. It's absolutely impossible to get aware about that in detail without using artificial intelligence. And we plan also to scale our election expertise to different regions, countries, and so on, because this year is a super hot topic. It's about 40 elections are coming like around the world. Okay, so that was like a first direction, and the second direction it's more situation awareness and threat intelligence platform, which focused on the corporate sector. So this platform helps company just to understand what kind of threats can impact business continuation of the company. For example, supply chain process, or employees itself, or critical infrastructure, and so on. Any things, any assets that's basically critical for the company. And we can 24/7 we can just provide such kind of alerts about incidents. We automatically evaluate that, how is it important for the company, and we make it as actionable as possible. So we also form like some kind of actionable steps which can help company to be like resilient and react to this action. And also, I think we are like we also combine in one system like different kind of threats. I mean, we think based on this experience that we got like in Ukraine, that importance of informational threats are pretty equal to physical one, right? Because you see how harmful impact you can make with this disinformation, with the dangerous narratives on people, and the same story with the business. So in this case, if we say about some kind of risk management for corporation, we can analyze like huge landscape of different risks and different kind of threats. Just take example of this CrowdStrike issue. It's just one simple update, and it like affected like hundreds of companies around the world. That is reality, right? That's such kind of turbulent reality in which we operate in right now.
Yeah, and I believe there is a much stronger correlation, or let's call it a hybrid attacks, when you utilize information resources and physical resources to extent, right? And especially given the time of wars that we have currently in Ukraine, we see more and more evidence that of interlinks to that. I would probably quickly ask about the domain in Ukraine, because obviously we have a pressing issue to counter that attacks, right, and that threats. And we know that there are a number of teams or companies or startups in the domain, which is always a good news, right? So we see a growing hub for expertise, utilizing mostly AI technologies to counter the threats. But maybe you can also position yourself a little bit different from other guys like Ostavul or Let's Data that to some extent address similar pain points or issues. How are you different in a way? Or what's your plan to grow together if you speak with them?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very good question, and I will start from the simple question, right? Where is the center of informational confrontation now in the world? And just answer is simple: in Ukraine. And the next question: where is it methodology and technology like a center of expertise in the world in fighting with such kind of threats, and answer is the same in Ukraine, right? That's why basically we have at least 3 startups which I think really successful, all of them, right? And can you name it like other modern industry, like, okay, except drones, but like some kind of like industry when we have just last few years like 3 successful startup international, right?
And very young startups. Very young.
Yeah, yes. So it's very difficult to answer this question, right? In this case, it's a signal. It's a signal where like when Ukraine can build some really big story, right? Because we need to think like now what we will do like just after like full invasion of Russia will be finished, and we'll have like our victory. But like just we need to answer our question how we will build this after war economic, right? How we can start such kind of a successful big story now, and that is like an answer for that, right? Because that's absolutely organical, like how I'd say space when such kind of story can begun. Like we definitely can create like new volunteer here. It's a reality, and I spoke for the last years, I think, with 100 like investors, like 100 potential customers, and when you say like our team like was like from Ukraine, born from Ukraine, there is no doubt, right? Because they understand, okay, so guys, share to us expertise, right? Share with us insights. We want to be prepared, right? We want to be prepared, but nobody knows. Today is in Ukraine, but tomorrow it will be something else. So in this case, first of all, I think we definitely need to think this globally, because it's a little bit missing in our startup industry, because still a lot of people like think like more like in short time basis, right? It's some kind of I think mentalities that we need to change. We need to think like more globally, and we need to think like where in Ukraine we can build like a new volunteer, right? Another part of the story, so like all of us together, I mean these 3 startups started as a volunteer organization, and we keep in contact. And I think everybody of us has like own way and own path and our own differentiation. Our differentiation is more like a real-time focus, I think, because we definitely have like very strong expertise how to build like real-time ML platform, how to proceed data with really low latency, because it's very important for corporate market, right? Because we need to, for some incidents, we need to react in minutes, right? And we cannot wait till tomorrow. So in this case. And I think like we just have like pretty clear like corporate way and corporate path, which confirmed already by market and so on. And I don't think we see like a government as our main focus. So mostly as a company, as a startup, we want to go to corporate and revolutionize risk management for corporations. So we continue to work with the government in Ukraine, and not only in Ukraine, but I don't think it's our main focus, like strategically.
Yeah, reputation management, corporate reputation management is probably much bigger market in a way. But going back to one of the points that you mentioned, is that we have a couple of startups teams working on similar domain. And if you try to look at one of the statements from investors saying that don't build anything for Ukraine, go global from day one, I guess both are right in a way. But when we look at Ukraine, there are a few markets where we can indeed build expertise, world-class expertise, in a way addressing the present challenges that we unfortunately have at the moment, right? And building the expertise teams, centers of competences, right? So altogether, dozens of people utilizing cutting edge technologies in a domain of, countering the information threats. That's something that indeed can build some sort of a maybe cluster domain expertise, preparing the country for maybe being a leader in some of the verticals, right?
Absolutely, because it's happening absolutely like organically, right? We need just support from government, from investment, from startup community, and so on. But it's already happening. Just my point, guys, let's speed up that, because we have a pretty limited time of opportunity, and we have a competitors from the whole world. And in this case, on this moment, we have a chance to do that. But to do that, it's a huge amount of effort from all the members of startup ecosystem, right? So in this case, such kind of programs like Seeds of Bravery does great job, right? Because you just support this mission to create some kind of story which can support Ukraine in post-war economics. That is hugely important.
Yeah, that's basically the main goal. So we, during the Seeds of Bravery, we have financial support. We provide grant financing up to 60,000 euro per startup, but we also provide non-financial support, different incubation and acceleration programs, services to help startup eventually grow to global markets, raise capital, and build expertise within the team, domain, and vertical, right? And definitely, we plan to fund 200 startups, right? So hopefully, we'll have a lot of top startups from the verticals and industries to build something more than just individual startup, maybe an industry, as I said, maybe a competence center that will be globally competitive. So that's definitely a goal, and I'm glad to hear that you share the same vision. Obviously, it's not enough just to have us conversating about it, but nevertheless, that's definitely an ambition that I see. Going back to the product and to the market, probably it's important to understand what's the roadmap or what's the plan for the future, especially once you close the fundraising cycle now and focus back on product development, sales, and marketing. Can you tell a bit about your plans for this and next year?
I think, as I say, I mentioned a few product directions that we have. So it's basically some kind of independent stream inside the company, but based on the data infrastructure, on the huge data infrastructure that we already had in place. In this case, for some streams which we much more had, right? For example, for reports and briefing automation, we already have several closed project. We have some signed projects which just started with pretty big customers and so on. As I say, we launched a specific direction with some standardized reports about election, and we already have customers for that. As this customers base is growing. About our flagman product, situation awareness and threat intelligence platform. So now we are creating a beta version of the platform, and it will be launched this autumn with a focus on US market first of all. And now we formed already board of product advisors. It's basically early adopters of this platform from the top companies like Bayer, Hitachi Energy, and so on and so on. So it's a really top experts from the market, which regularly on weekly basis providing for us feedback. So everything what we are doing in the platform is really based on the pain points and the needs on top experts from the market, from the top companies. And such kind of guys will be like converted in early adopters and pilot projects of the platform. So in this case, goal for this autumn, it's a go to market on US, and starting the next year, we will start some kind of scale up because we see a lot of demand on the market, and we have some kind of plan for product market fit expansion for the next year. So I think if we just simplify things, so this year it's a go-to-market phase with a focus on US, and next year it's a scale-up phase.
Well, good plan and good ambition, in a way. We have a couple of minutes left, so maybe you wanted to add something to the audience to share from your end.
Yeah, so first of all, I think I want to thanks again for your hard job to doing the Seeds of Bravery like program, because it's a huge help for a startup like us and other. And just program, I think, just started, but I already like seriously impressed about the methodology behind the program, that like clear milestones, clear like goals, and so on. That's really what is needed for Ukrainian startup industry, because I don't think we just only one startup in Ukraine. There are a lot of startups, like talented team and so on, and now it's really tough conditions, right? To make a business, to be an early stage startup, comparing with other countries. So in this case, such kind of programs is very important, and I want to like thanks for that. And just to confirm this point from our meeting, so guys, let's start to think globally, right? So because we should not think tactically. I think it's one of the problems that we have in our mentality and so on. And I think such kind of time should be finished. And any crisis, it's also opportunity. And I want such kind of crisis in which we are now. It will be like a driver for us to change the mentality and make it more global, more strategic. And let's do investment not in tactical things. Let's do investment in things which can be like a huge international like company with the Ukrainian roots. We just super like technology nation, but we need to do more things in terms of the sales and in terms of build like scalable business, successful internationally business based on that. And I think we have everything. We have everything for that. We need just to change mentality.
Yeah, one of my favorite sayings from Andy Grove is that bad companies die in crisis, good companies survive the crisis, but great companies are in a way defined by crisis, right? And I wish you to become a great company that was born, in the first few weeks of a full-scale innovation and with global ambition and global outlook. Maksym, it was my pleasure to have a conversation with you, and hopefully we inspired a lot of startups to apply and to build something big.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Maksym. Okay, so again, to all our listeners and viewers, we just had a conversation with Maksym Tereshchenko, one of the founders and CEO at Mantis Analytics, a startup that is also receiving the grant financing from the Seeds of Bravery project that is implemented by a consortium of local and international partners from all over Europe and funded by the European Commission. Again, Maksym, thanks a lot for insightful conversation, and wish you best of luck in your plans and roadmap.
Thank you very much.